Let's talk about Good Omens episode 4, Saturday morning Funtime. Spoilers. One of the most memorable things that happens during this episode is Adam starting to change reality based on his dreams and his imagination. We see Atlantis has risen from the ocean and the Atlantians are now mingling with the people on a cruise ship. I do have to ask the question, what happens to all of these people that Adam kind of manifests out of nowhere? What happens afterwards when everything goes back to normal? Do all of the Atlantians just disappear as if they've never existed? We also get to spend a little bit more time with Gabriel. This is a nice little way to add an antagonist that comes from heaven, because we have the Dukes of Hell to represent what's bad about hell, but in the book we don't really see anyone from heaven that much. There's a little bit with the Metatron towards the end, but it's actually really nice to have someone who's supposed to be, unpleasant and antagonistic that represents heaven for Aziraphale to kind of bounce off of. One of the little scenes where they meet in this episode, Gabriel is jogging in the park. I really have no idea why. I don't even know why he's there. Why is he on Earth? The angels in general have a slightly bigger part in this than they did in the book. Michael starts suspecting or realizing that Aziraphale has been associating with Crowley, and they dig up archives and photos of the two of them together. It's all of this surveillance, Secret Service stuff, and Michael appears to be calling hell, to tell them, and starts making plans to punish Aziraphale or catch him in the act and that sort of thing. In the book, you kind of get the impression that the arrangement is probably not something that heaven and hell would like, but it doesn't feel like it's this dangerous thing that if their respective sides find out about it, they will, really severely punish them. I'm not sure what I think about heaven and hell kind of almost working together and having communication. This makes them seem more like these villains that are just trying to take over the world, whereas I thought they were just a bit more stupid and narrow-minded as opposed to genuinely villainous. Well, I suppose hell is supposed to be kind of villainous, but... Another character who gets quite a bit of screen time and development and is possibly the most touching character in this whole thing, apart from Aziraphale and Crowley, is the delivery man. The delivery man who has to deliver all the different kind of objects to the horsemen of the apocalypse. We get to see his wife and his life and how much they love each other, and we really get to know him, and he's just such a delightful character. And speaking of the four horsemen, now two of them I absolutely love. I think that's amazing casting, and that's War and Famine. I thought they were absolutely great. Pollution is alright. And then the one that really, unfortunately, really does not work for me is Death. And the thing is that is a skeleton, so there's not a whole lot of facial acting there's no facial acting going on. So it's all in the voice. And the voice is so wrong. It's so wrong. It's just this very theatrical voice that kind of speaks like that. And it just does not work on any level for me. But what can you do about it? We get some scenes with Adam and his friends, and Adam is starting to change a little bit and is kind of starting to be influenced by hell and hearing voices. But the problem is that because Adam's acting wasn't that amazing to begin with, and I feel bad saying this because it's a child and he's really cute and I'm sure he can act well, but there just isn't enough of a difference to make an impact. He kind of has one face, 1.5 faces, maybe. I do wish we had gotten a few extra scenes with the children to get to know them a little bit better. While all of this is happening, Crowley is planning on running away, running off to Alpha Centauri, just leaving all of this behind. And we do get one more interaction between him and Aziraphale when he once again tries to convince the angel to just come with him. Aziraphale refuses him once again because Aziraphale is a heartless bastard. They have an argument, they kind of shout at each other again, and you know, Aziraphale tells him no, and Crowley's like, fine then, I'll just leave by myself, and I'm just going, and when I get there I won't even think about you, and he drives off. And there's this really, really funny bit where a guy on the street just kind of stops next to Aziraphale and kind of looks at Crowley driving off, and it's just like, don't worry, you're better off without him. This series just all but spells out romantic relationship in big flashing letters. This is also the episode where Anathema and Newt get to know each other. Well, there's a tornado outside because they can't go out and do anything. They kind of hide under the bed and have the most improbable sex scene in history. How does that work in terms of logistics? I don't think there's that much space under that bed, and just what is happening? We get the famously famous scene that we've been building up to much more in the series than in the book, with the Dukes of Hell and the Holy Water, where they show up in Crowley's apartment. They're there to punish him, and he brings out the thermos, the flask of holy water with gloves and everything, and he makes this booby trap over his door. Liger is killed by the holy water in a horrible way and just melts into the ground. Crowley does have a really fun moment where he's sort of bluffing. I mean, he's already used all of his holy water, but he's trying to bluff by pretending that his spray bottle that he uses on his plants is also filled with holy water, but Castor notices a drop falling on his hand, and I'm always like, even in the book, I was like, why are you not wearing gloves, dude? You know, commit to the part that you're playing. If you're going to try to bluff, commit to it. Pretend to yourself that this really is holy water. Treat it as something dangerous. Don't just be holding a spray bottle. Those things, you know, drops fall on you. The only problem with the angels showing up so much is that by the end of this episode, Aziraphale is starting to look like an idiot, because he gets to talk to them so many times, and his kind of requests to stop the apocalypse get turned down so many times that you're starting to really ask yourself, why is this guy still trying, and why is he still rejecting Crowley's idea of either running away together or, you know, trying to work together to stop it or anything like that. They do kind of justify it because he's sort of going up the chain. He tries talking to Gabriel and to some of the other angels, and when they reject him and when they act like complete bastards, he decides, okay, well, I need to actually talk to God. We do get to the point where he tries to talk to God, gets the Metatron instead, and the Metatron is refusing to let him actually talk to God. So if Aziraphale says his bit, obviously it doesn't work. The Metatron just goes, you're an idiot and you're gonna get punished, and what were you even thinking? Shadwell shows up in the bookshop, sees the pentagramish looking circle, decides that Aziraphale is a witch, and because Aziraphale is trying to protect him from coming into the circle because that would kill him. Aziraphale himself ends up stepping into the circle and getting discorporated and getting sent back to heaven, where he's supposed to join the army. And Shadwell, of course, decides that he was the one who somehow magically made him disappear. And on his way out, he kicks a candle and the bookshop bursts in flames. That just hurts to watch, because just seeing all of those books burn. Of course, then we get Crowley, who, bless his heart, just does not give up. Crowley entering Aziraphale's burning bookshop is just a classic scene. It's so memorable in the book, and I specifically remember one line in the narration. He was looking for the angel, he was looking for help. It's one of the few times in the book where it's made very clear how important they are to each other and how much they rely on each other. And it's pretty dramatic in the series. He enters the shop and he's shouting for Aziraphale, and he realizes he's not there, and there's the whole dramatic let's fall on my knees scene and let's scream at nothing, and he shouts somebody killed my best friend, which I'm not sure how he gets to that conclusion. I mean, it's just a burning bookshop. For all you know, he might not even be there, or it might be an accident, or you don't know what happened. And that's how this episode ends. All in all, it was a really action-packed episode. A lot happens. It does manage to have quite a few very important, very memorable moments. So I did quite like it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.